Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Cutting Through the Bullshit. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie Snyder, and I am a high performance mentor. Through my unique blend of strategy, mindset, and intuition, I help men and women to cut through the BS in order to create the life and business they desire. So, we're just going to do this one episode today because that's all I'm feeling. Usually I batch create, but we're just going to dive right into this one. And it's more of a reminder for myself. For the intentionality of my time. So the last couple of weeks, my husband and I have been checking out a whole lot more real estate. We are in the process of flipping houses, and it takes time to look at these houses and run the numbers and all the things. And I noticed that the very first thing that was being put on the back burner was my fitness. Workouts were the first thing to go because I would wake up and just be so ready to get my to-do list done that I wouldn't actually work out. And I noticed it last week, and so I tried to make it intentional. I tried to really make it a priority and get back into it, but it just wasn't working. And so this week I recommitted. And I said, before I do anything else, before I check email, before I sit down at my computer, I'm going to get my workout done. And I've done it. It's been easy, but I did have to kind of reset myself because I was putting it on the back burner and it was being the thing that was left off. And so it went to the top of my to-do list. And it is one of the very first things that I check off in the morning now. And it's just a good reminder that this tends to happen, right? Life tends to happen. I remember having this conversation with my dissertation chair back when I was working on my Ph.D. And he said, you have 7 years to complete this program, including the coursework. You've already used 3 years for your coursework. You have 4 years to write this paper. Life is going to happen. You've got to figure out how to do it anyways. And I had always been pretty good at that anyways. There wasn't a whole lot necessarily that I was doing at that time. I was really good at prioritizing things. But it was just a really great reminder to say, hey, this may be the first thing that goes onto the back burner when life comes at you. And that tends to happen for a lot of us, whether it's our business, whether it's our fitness and our nutrition, or our relationships with our partner, or our, self-care, our relationship with ourselves. Sometimes when things start to get moving in a good way, right? Or sometimes they get overwhelming in a not so great way. But there tends to be a trend of the first thing that we put on the back burner. What's the first thing that just kind of gets left behind? And oftentimes it's simply because, one, we haven't prioritized it, but a lot of people will say, I don't have the time for it. And the truth is, you can use time for an excuse, absolutely 100%, but it's an ownership when you say, you know what, it wasn't a priority. Because if it was a priority, you would find the time to do the thing. Plain and simple, period, end of statement, right? And so it wasn't a priority for me, and I was just kind of letting it go to the wayside. And so this week I recommitted and I said, nope, I've got a race coming up. I really need to make sure that I'm doing these workouts every day. It will be one of the first things that I do in the morning. And it's been easy to do it, and I haven't fallen behind on anything else. I've actually been able to maintain my focus a bit more when I sit down and do things because there are a lot of things that are happening right now. Between the real estate investing that we're doing, the business that I'm running, as well as my coaching business and the classes that I teach online, and still being a present mom, these things are all very important to me. And so it's a matter of managing my time well. And I actually had that conversation. Somebody had called me the other day, and she said, well, she was calling about my marketing team. I love my marketing team. They're incredible. And she was calling for a referral for my marketing team. And she said, well, you're a business owner. How do you have time to even field these calls from people for your marketing team? And I said, it's important to me, so I make the time. I said, I'm also really good at my time management. I am super hyper aware of where my time is going, that if I fall off track or I get out of whack, I when I'm unaligned, essentially, when I get out of alignment, it doesn't take me long to realize what's going on. And it was really only a couple of weeks of missing workouts that I said, no, we've got to rein it in. We really have to recommit to this. And so I was able to reset that priority. But I am great at focusing. A lot of the reason that I'm able to do this is because anytime something comes up for me to do, I will put it on my phone so I don't forget. Anytime I think of something that has to get done or whatever it is, right? This morning I was on my way, I was driving my kids to school, and I had forgotten to take the chicken out of the freezer for dinner tonight. So I just popped a reminder on my phone, let it go, was still present with my kids, listened to them play in the back seat while we were driving to school. I mean, it allows me to do all of the things without missing a beat. And sometimes that brain dump comes when I lay down at night. When I climb into bed, all of a sudden I'm relaxed and I go, okay, here are all the things that I need to do. And I will actually get up and I will put it in my phone so I don't forget. Because there are a lot of moving parts to what I'm doing right now, that I don't want to drop the ball. And so if something comes up, right, like that open tab on your computer, if there's a reminder there, I stick it into my phone so that I don't forget it. And I have alarms on them. There's certain times of day where I will do certain things. And so a majority of my alarms are at 10 a.m. Do this thing by 10 a.m. And then there are several that are at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Do these things by 12. And oftentimes I do get them done well in advance of 10 a.m., but sometimes they're pushed to that day. But I always give myself space in case the unpredictable happens, so that I'm never running around feeling frazzled and overwhelmed. I have the flexibility to move this thing to the next day, to the next block of, time blocking, that I don't feel like I'm ever overwhelmed or behind. And because I can put all those reminders on my phone, it really does make sure that I'm not missing anything, that it's not falling through the cracks when it comes to businesses. As we are running, like I said, we are running multiples of them right now. And so being able to stay on top of things is very, very important to me. There are set days for meetings, for certain activities. We have set days for that. Sometimes there is a bit of a learning curve. And I think that's the thing that most people don't give themselves adequate time for, is they think, well, I'm going to start this thing and it's going to be easy to integrate. And sometimes it takes us longer than maybe we thought it would to integrate the thing or to do the thing in general. And that can really have a domino effect on everything else. And so when I start something new, I give myself ample time to have a learning curve behind it, ample time for it to go wrong. And that way, if it does go well and it does go quickly, I'm pleasantly surprised by it and I have time for something else. But I am one of those people that really does estimate an extended period of time for something. I think this is where my husband and I differ a little bit, in that I think he, I think he believes it's going to take less time to do something, and I believe it's going to take way more time to do something, and so that is kind of the difference there in terms of our time management. But I say all of this because really, when you are doing big things in your life and you are creating change, I really want to encourage you to just give yourself some grace. You may be 40, 50, 60 years old and think, I should have it perfect by now. You might not have one thing perfect by now. And it's not about being perfect. It's about a continuous refinement. It's about being open and gracious with yourself in changing, right? Because the truth of it is, while our souls may be very, very old, your human body, right, is quite young. And so when you think of a little kid, an 8-year-old kid, for instance, I have an 8-year-old daughter. So if you think of an 8-year-old kid, they're not going to have the same amount of information that I have And so I give grace when there are questions about something that feels common sense to me or that I already knew, right? And this can be true when you're taking on any kind of new endeavor, right? For whatever reason, sometimes we believe we should just get it right the first time. Well, the truth is, when have you ever gotten it right the first time? Probably not very often. But additionally, if you got everything right the first time, you would eventually stop trying new things. Because you'd be like, well, I just mastered that. It's fine. I don't need to try it. I know I can do it. And so that's really kind of the beauty of it. But I do encourage you, if you are in a place where you're tackling something new and maybe you're feeling overwhelmed with your time, I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. We can get you all prioritized and in order and moving and grooving to the place where the things that are truly important to you are the things that are getting done first, as opposed to putting out fires constantly and then feeling like there isn't really time for the things that you want to do. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will see you next time. And thank you so much if you are watching this on YouTube or you are listening to the podcast. Thank you for being a subscriber. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. I would love to see you there. And if you have any questions or you'd love me to dive into something else, absolutely shoot me a message. You can find me on Instagram, Stephanie Snyder Ph.D, or you can send me an email. Head over to my website, stephaniesnyderphd.com. I would love to connect with you. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And as always, be you, because the world needs more of you. Bye.